Well, that's the view of someone with plenty of skin in the game, about $7 billion worth of skin in terms of generating assets. For an independent view, I spoke to the highly regarded utilities analyst at UBS, David Leitch. Well, David, there has been a lack of investment among electricity generators. Do you think that it'll lead to electricity shortages in future and brownouts even?
I think consumers are getting browned off. Brownouts are somewhat more problematic. Demand is actually growing quite slowly at the moment because consumer bills and tariffs are going up. But over time, certainly electricity consumption is going to grow at about a 1% pace, I guess, for the next 7 or 8 years, and we need an ongoing supply of new generation to cope with that. There haven't been any new coal-fired power stations built in Australia for some years, and I don't think anyone would actually build one at the moment without a huge amount of confidence about its long-term economics and with complete confidence about what the carbon price was going to be. And at the moment, without even a policy, we're not within cooey of being able to make those decisions.
Now, David, you've analysed in detail how all this works in relation to the national electricity market. It's been said generally that the price of carbon is probably going to be around $20 to $25 a tonne, but you've said that it'll need to be about $50 per tonne to ensure that gas-generated electricity is actually dispatched into the grid. How did you work that out?
We look at the carbon intensity of the different fuels, Alan. Australia has the highest per capita emissions intensity in the world, or one of the highest, and one of the reasons is because we burn so much coal in our electricity mix, the main reason. And the obvious candidate is the brown coal in Victoria, where the emissions intensity is about 1.2, 1.3 tonnes of carbon for every megawatt hour. And that compares with new combined cycle gas where the number's about 0.4 tonnes. Now, this is a complicated argument, but the variable cost for those brown coal guys down there in Victoria is only $2.50 a megawatt hour right now. And so they're generally the first electricity generators dispatched every morning because their baseload electricity costs very little to people in variable terms at the moment. As soon as the carbon price, though, is $25 or $30, their variable cost jumps up towards $40 a megawatt hour from $2.50. It's an enormous cost increase from them. So all of a sudden, they're not dispatched in the market every day as often as they were before, but more to the point, they've actually got a lot less gross profit with which to cover their fixed interest costs, and that will cause some financial stress for them almost immediately. And it's one of the reasons why the banking sector is in general increasingly reluctant to refinance their debts.
So do you think they become unprofitable with a carbon price of $25?
They become less profitable.
Well, at what point do they become unprofitable?
That depends on a lot of things. To cut a long story short, I think at a carbon costs of even $30 or $40 a tonne, those brown coal guys will over time cease to produce. And depending on how much assistance they're offered, there may be an incentive for them to go out of business. And Alan, that brings us to the next important point. It's all very well to say that that's the desired outcome, but from the point of view of national electricity security, ultimately we don't just want the brown coal guy going away on one day without a guaranteed bit of, or without some electricity to replace it. That's where I think some kind of industry policy or some kind of oversight to make sure that there is going to be enough new generation to eventually replace this brown generation does have some merits, or at least that people have considered exactly which gas-fired power station or which piece of wind, or even, you know, if you want to believe the mad greenies, which piece of solar is going to replace this brown coal.
But you're also pointing out that there's not enough gas.
Well, there is enough gas right this second in Australia. There's lots of gas, but it's all been sold offshore.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yes, no, so there is a gas supply issue. I mean, it's quite a complex environment. There may be enough gas in Bass Strait for all I know. Who knows how much BHP Esso's really got down there. But someone needs to get on with the detailed planning of it fairly fast. I mean, if a carbon price is introduced in 2013, and let's say it does go up towards a price which causes these brown coal guys stress after only a few years of operation, and let's say it takes, 5, 6, 7 years to get the gas-fired plant planned and built, we really don't have that big a window of opportunity from that point of view.
Thanks very much for joining us, David.
Alan, it's been a pleasure talking to you.